I'm right now.
Who you rolling?
I am rolling with FD.
I'm rolling with FD.
Let's do it. Let's go.
I'm rolling with FD, baby.
We are rolling with FD.
I'm rolling with FD.
Oh, you know we rolling with FD, baby.
We got alphas and bros in the house.
That's right.
Peace out, my brother.
Woo! I'm rolling with the F, the D.
Learn something new every day when you're rolling with FD.
Yeah, we are rolling with FD, baby.
I roll with one person, and that's FD.
I'm rolling with FD, baby.
You gotta love it, man.
This is a family thing.
That's good. That's good, man.
Hey, Renee, who you rolling with?
Rolling with FD.
Hey, Matt. Rolling with FD.
You don't have to ask. I'm rolling with FD.
My man. But see, Bless, who you rolling with?
I'm rolling with FD.
I'm rolling with FD.
That's how you just rolling, right? That's the whole thing, right? You roll with it.
You gotta let me know who you rolling with.
We're rolling with FD. You heard it first.
I'm rolling with FD.
I am rolling with FD.
I'm not just a pretty face, Ziggy. JD, we should both do it.
No, I'm doing that.
What questions do you have for me? Right, Manny and Jeremy, who you rolling with?
We're rolling with FD. We don't want to get our asses kicked.
You gotta let the people know who you're rolling with, man.
Well, obviously I'm rolling with FD.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is FD on What's the Play, June 26th, Monday, a little after 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I'm very excited. I'm going to let you all know. We have someone here today that has been a strong supporter of being here all the time. I was just talking to him about it before we got on here. Always with good suggestions, a member of the hobby. I give him love. Also, a person that grew up in Chicago like myself, has moved other places, done other things, a father. There's so many things I could say about Big Jon. But we do have Big Jon here today, and I want to bring him in and say what's up. What's up, man?
What's up? What's up, everybody?
What's going down?
Nothing much. Nothing much.
We got Dexfo here. Dexfo saying, F Dizzle, what happened to buff guy Mike? Oh, Mike has been, well, you know, I used to have a guest on sometimes. I would think like once a month. I know Mike was rehabbing. Mike does bench press lifting competitions.
Yeah, I remember him.
And I know he was rehabbing a shoulder, and some other stuff. But we plan to have Big Mike back. Dexter, yeah, I know you got love for him. We plan to have him back. Good evening, gentlemen. Phoenix Rising. So, Big Jon, let's start with tell everybody about Big Jon. Where you're from, how you got introduced to the hobby, and a little bit about what you collect.
All right, well, I'm Big Jon, collectors cards. Everybody's calling me Big Jon. Originally from Chicago, Illinois. Went to college in South Carolina, HBCU Benedict. Got married. Got 2 kids. My daughter was 8. My son is 16. We moved up here to Connecticut. I've been here for like the last 8 years. Very good. Love where I'm at. Kind of funny thing is, just told y'all all that. Y'all all will forget it. Nobody ever remember where I live because I'm sort of a nomad. I keep on the move most of the time. So this big house is a new thing, permanent residence, I guess.
Mm-hmm. And congratulations on the home.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Still new. Hobby, typical story. Elementary school, high school, Pokemon cards, basketball cards, baseball cards, collecting them. You grow up, you get into things, you start playing football, you get older, you get 16, interested in girls and friends and hanging out, goes by the wayside.
Yeah.
Got to college, kind of forgot about it. Pandemic happened, kind of got back into it because originally, in my old job, I see kids coming in, buying Pokemon cards, wearing them. Never really put 2 and 2 together. It was still a good thing. It was something that, still popular.
Mm-hmm.
Having time to sit down and relax, got into it initially as the hustle. To make, go to Target, buy a pack of contenders, put it up on my card, put it up on eBay, sell it for double, wash, rinse, and repeat. But it brought back my love for like collecting things and collect Funko Pops, collect wrestling toys. So to get back to cards, growing up in high school, I was the kid on the bus with the paper, newspapers, Chicago Sun-Times, reading the box scores. Get into the debates at the lunch table. Who's better, Michael or this? How the boys gonna do? Should the Bears actually get a quarterback instead of having Jim Miller? Just those conversations we used to have.
Yeah.
So I stopped trying to resell them and just start opening them. Let's see what I get, collect, and now way more cards than I know what to do with. But I'm glad I have them. I stick to my lane now, mostly collecting Chicago teams, Chicago players, some Star Wars, some WWE, because I'm always a big wrestling fan. So, and then what I don't want or what I not really into, I put up on eBay, put up on Mercari, and let them get to a better home.
Mm-hmm. True. I see. We got Dexflo says Big Jon what it do, player.
What's up, Dexflo? Big Jon's a very underrated wrestler.
Yeah, he was. Yes, he was. He used to be a big fan of Big Jon stuff. April says, welcome, John. EC3 Con, congratulations on the house again.
Thanks, Scott. So that's the Connecticut Con I was telling you guys about was great 2 weeks ago. We'll get into that, I guess, but they're great people. Great convention up here in Connecticut.
All right. Dexflo says, I want to see Big Jon Stud body slam FCS with a giant.
That won't happen.
No, that won't happen.
Those days are over of even attempting that.
So tell me about, you say you played sports growing up. What sports did you play?
High school played football, track, and wrestling. So, I went to Prosser High School over the north side of Chicago, the Falcons, and 25-man football team. Everybody on offense started on defense at the center and the quarterback. So I was a two-way player, left tackle and defensive end.
Okay.
And I wasn't this big playing left tackle. I was like 5'8", 180. So.
Okay. All right. And what'd you do on the track team?
Run. We did track was in between sports. To keep in shape, we had to either run track or do wrestling.
Okay.
So track season started a little bit before wrestling started. So I just ran track, whatever they needed me to do. Tried to learn hurdles. I can't stretch like that. I ran 4x4 relay, mile relay, but it was just kind of in between to get into wrestling. Like that was our conditioning when football season was over with. You go play sports. Some, the receivers, cornerbacks played basketball. Linemen went to wrestling and track. So
I can relate to that because I remember in playing football, and I would do discus and shot put on the track team to stay in shape for football. So I can remember that. And I think now it's different. Is it different now? Because I feel like I'm driving by high schools, and kids are out in like 707 stuff going on in the summertime.
Now it's different. Like my son is playing football this year, and that's all they play with one sport now. Like football, then 7-on-7, whatever AAU circuit is for basketball. You don't get into playing the other sports to stay in shape. Like when my assistant coaches were wrestling coach and was a track coach.
Yeah.
So it wasn't a choice to go do those things. It was all right, season over. I'll see you in the gym.
That's right.
I see you on the mat.
It was the same way for me.
I had it worse because my uncle was a coach. He's a teacher and a coach, and my other uncle was a referee. So, once they heard my last name, it was, you're doing this no matter what. I'm calling your uncle, and he's going to make you do it anyway.
I see. So now, in terms of the hobby, what are some cards that are near and dear to you in your collection?
Near and dear to me, my Blue Bob, Blue Sapphire. It's the first card that I actually won in a break when I got back in the hobby. And I sold it raw for like $200, and then about 6 months ago I was able to buy it back in the PSA 10 like $60. So that was now staying in the collection. My Montez Forge WWE Chronicles Phoenix Gold out of 10 auto That's near and dear to me. It's a perfect 10 card. One of my favorite wrestlers right now, and he's from Chicago, and he's just very charismatic to me. So that's one of my favorite. And those two cards are probably cards that I plan on keeping for a while, unless there's like crazy offer for them. But they'll probably stay in my collection too. Everything else is fluid. Like I'm really into collecting Bowman right now.
Okay.
Prospecting Bowman. I failed at prospecting in football and basketball, but I understand baseball, I understand box score, and I understand the scouting reports. And so right now I'm collecting a lot of Cubs prospects: Ed Howard, Kevin May, Cade Horton, Ben Brown, Pete Crow Armstrong. I'm collecting all of those for me. And if they hit, then those pieces may be moved to get better pieces of those players. Suddenly put it right back into the hobby. And then I'm prospecting different tiers of the top 100 list. Who's coming up this year, who's coming up maybe in the next 2 years for some long-term holds. It's amazing the value you can get out of Bowman if you can research, if you can be patient. You can buy a $17 auto today, and in a year it's $200-$300 card without grading it.
True.
Just the player got called up, had a good game, and once that dies down, you can read back into it.
And for those who are new to the hobby or listening, it's because Bowman is the choice brand of card well sought after. Is that how you put it?
In baseball, yeah, I think it's Bowman first, then Topps Chrome.
Mm-hmm.
And those are like 1 and 2 for baseball.
Yeah.
And a lot of stuff I've learned trial, error. When I got back in the hobby, I bought a lot of 2001 Series 1. So a lot of Brian Hayes, who you don't hear about anymore right now. Just a lot of that anticipated 2021 class that we thought were going to be good that didn't turn out to be good. And now you have the Ellie Deli Cruises, the J-Rods, and they are just expensive right now.
Well, I was going to ask you next about De La Cruz. What do you think of him? I know we got a short sample of games, but what are your thoughts?
Short sample of games, but his hit tool is there. He's a 5-tool player. Like he's fast, he can hit, he can defend, he can catch, he can throw. Like he's one of those players that if he stays clean, doesn't have Tatis situation, he'll be one of the faces of baseball. Right? He's exciting to play. He plays with a flair. Fun for the kids to like get in and watch. Right now he's expensive, but next year he won't be as expensive. Right?
But walk people through that. Why would he not be as expensive in your eye next year?
Because it's the hobby. It's the new exciting thing. That's how the hobby goes.
Mm-hmm.
Julio Rodriguez is having a decent year. It's not great, not bad. He's still a great prospect, but his cards are nowhere near as much as they were last year.
Well, what is he now betting? 256?
Somewhere around there, which, baseball average now, the Luis Arias who's batting 400, nobody really collects his cards. His cards are not expensive at all compared to Ellie Deli Cruz, who just got caught up. But this guy's proven to be a 400 hitter.
Yeah.
So,
like you said, if you do your research and you kind of understand the cycle of the hobby, how people come out, they really get a following. Their cards spike in price. And then at some point, you could almost anticipate there's going to be some leveling out.
Yep.
And then what do you do? What plays do you make then?
You look at Aaron Judge, right? He came out with hype. He went down. His value went down in the second year, third year. Then, last year they go back up because he's had steady performance as an all-star player, a big-time hitter, home run hitter. He's got the marketing behind him with the New York Yankees. So now that you've seen it for a couple of years, his cards are where they should be priced at. You're not going to get a great deal, but you're not going to overpay and be looking back, did you spend too much money? It's like same thing with Shohei Ohtani. When he came to America, took a while, but now he's he's the best player in the MLB on a bad team. But his card prices are reflecting he's the best player in the MLB.
And then Phoenix Rising said Luis Matos is starting to get hot right now.
He is starting to get hot, and I did try to get his cards, but like 2 weeks ago, I was looking at his cards because I have a friend in the hobby I talked to on Instagram who's a Giants fan, and we were talking about his cards and looking at some things on eBay, and but the hype machine is rolling behind him. I think he's made it to like top 20 or the top 100 right now. So if you can find a deal on him, buy it and sit on it, because next year or late this year in September when he gets called up, have a good game, there's going to be an opportunity there.
Kind of share with the people when you say put your research in on baseball, because to me baseball is, how would I put it? It seems to be more difficult to understand who are the players that's going to have long-term success.
Okay. All right, so
how do you research that?
I'll use your example of James Watson, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What if you had 3 years to look at how James Watson performed playing against like-level talent and seeing them go up in talent each year before you made a big investment in his cards?
Oh, that would be great. That's the optimal situation.
That's what you can do with baseball. They're in single A, they're in double A, they're in triple A, they get to the majors. You see the steady improvements in batting average, hitting. Are they taking walks? Are they making defensive plays? Are they hitting home runs? Do they have power? Right? Can they get on base? Can they steal? Those things that you see with the Ellie Cruzes, the O'Neal Cruz, that's what you saw with Juan Soto years ago before he came up and went to Washington. You got years to see how they develop. So if you miss the first wave of Bowman, you got time. They have a bad year in Double A, their prices are going to go down. But next year, they can have a good year in Double A, and that hype machine gets right behind them. And every team has players that they're expecting to come up. You can go to MLB Pipeline and just look at the top 100 list and see when they're expected to be called up to the show. One player I'm prospecting on is Andrew Painter of the Phillies. He's a pitcher. He's 19, throws 100 miles an hour. But he's injured right now. But he's top 10, top 12 prospect right now, and he's out injured. I got 2 years for he's expected to come up to the bid. I got time to research card prices, find value, hold, grade, and be ready for that moment.
I love it. Reverend says hockey has the same system, but it's not as sexy. Basketball kind of does too in its own unique way now. The guys come out, the young ladies come out. They're probably coming out younger than they used to. And then you can kind of see, I kind of watch and see what is this person doing in games when they get in games. What is their performance like? How do they score? Because you can look, and I always give the example of DeAndre Jordan years ago with the Clippers in Lob City. He scored points, but Chris Paul set him up all the time as a point guard. So he wasn't shooting the mid-range jumper. He wasn't backing anyone down in the post. He was getting a lot of lobs, at least 8 points, 10 points a game. So if you can look at how a player scores in basketball or how they play defense, then it can tell you something about, you can start to project out, especially if you have a history of knowledge of former players and kind of how they grew. If you saw Kobe come through and struggle and then take off, and other players, you can kind of say, this player reminds me of this player, but they're different in this way. And I see this kind of growth potential, or I don't. And then you can make plays like that.
Yeah, exactly. What do you think about that John Collins trade today to Utah?
I felt strongly that John Collins, JD and I even talked about, I felt strongly that John Collins was leaving Atlanta. I didn't know Utah was going to be the spot. I think he can help the system over there. I think the way he plays ball can help them. I think in the right direction for him.
I think if Danny Ainge is making a trade for you, there's something there.
Mm-hmm.
His eye for talent is too good
I agree.
I think there's got to be something with him, despite what you may have seen with, because he reminds me of Clint Capella, the DeAndre George playing with Trey Young.
Yeah.
But there's got to be something there to his game if Danny Ainge is going for you.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think he helps Laurie Marketing now. I think he helps.
Don't talk about Laurie.
I'm just,
As a Bulls fan, hope he's a sharpshooter, and for that not to work kind of hurts because to see him flourish is wonderful.
Let's talk about this though. The way the Bulls were asking him to play, does it fit his strengths compared to what Utah's asking him to play?
No, the Bulls don't hire good coaches. You know that.
Yeah, I mean, you can look at their current coach, who I don't think.
So, do we agree that we just can't stand Billy Donovan as a coach? When
Donovan told, I think the Orlando Magic, right, that he was going to come coach with them, and then within 24 to 48 hours said, "No, I think we're going back to Florida." It's when I think I departed ways. FD went one way, Donovan went the other way, and fandom. I just can't. I can't get down with it.
He's one of them guys I think can coach recruits. I don't think he can coach grown men making millions of dollars.
I agree with that.
I think he did wonders in Oklahoma City when they were developing and becoming, but he can't get that core to that next level.
Yeah,
you see it with some of the dissension between the vets and the younger kids on the Bulls. You see it with just kind of how they play.
Yeah,
it's not connected. But if you gave him a young team that used to listen to a coach like that, he's going to develop them to a point. But somebody else is going to have to come take over and get them over the hump.
But to me, Laurie Marketing is one of those guys who get caught up, and like you want to see a lot of players get caught up. He goes to Cleveland. They're big men all over the place. And you ask yourself, how does he fit into that system? And he really doesn't. And then he leaves and go to Utah, and from the beginning of the season, you see a pop in this guy's performance, mid-range. He can shoot the three. He can back you down. You see moves out of the post. Like you saw stuff out of him that you never really saw when he was in Chicago or Cleveland. And that's more guys like that.
In Chicago, I think he was just a three-point shooter.
That's it.
Just, but in Cleveland, you get to play that much, but you get to see him in an offense that fits him. Mm-hmm. And especially who's the alpha on Utah? Like Mitchell's gone, Gobert's gone.
There is one.
So the offense free flow is a little more there, and that fits his game perfectly.
Yeah.
So we don't question. I have a question for you about basketball, right?
What you got? Go. Let's go with it.
How many games do you think CP3 is going to be on the Golden State for?
So I think people have asked me this. I think CP3 is there to run that second team. Mm-hmm. I think he's going to be a backup on the second team, and he's going to spare minutes to different people in that system. And I said after last season that when Kerr looks at his bench to bring someone in, there will be no one pouting. There'll be no one complaining about why I didn't play last night or why haven't I played in 4 games. There'll be veterans or people who understand their role, like a Jermichael Green, he's a veteran who understands his role. So Kerr wants him around. He can shoot the three. Kerr wants him around. There's going to be more people like that. I think CP3 is that. He's not there to run the show.
No.
And I think it's been made clear to him that he's not there to run the show because his first conversation with the media that I saw after getting picked up, he said he talked to Steph Curry and I just want to win and contribute. And I've never heard Chris Paul talk like that of going to a team. So that's what I think he's there to do.
I believe he's going to contribute. They're going to get some wins. And I believe 30 wins he's going to be there for before he gets traded. Kind of to get somebody younger, better is going to fit. Kind of how they did DeAndre Russell for Andrew Wiggins. Like I think he's going to perform, do well, get interest. 30 wins in. I'm giving him 30 wins, and he's going to be traded.
I don't disagree with that. I've heard several people. I think I saw you today. You left a comment either today or yesterday saying he's trade bait.
Yeah.
I don't disagree with that. I don't. He's there only to play the point guard position, and he's really there because he's a financial, less risky player than some other players that they could bring in. And they just moved off a guy who as soon as he won a championship, went in the locker room and said, I got the bag. And then came out and didn't do much when it was time to be called upon. And another thing about pool, and this is not a pool bash party, right? You could be at the pool party and bashing pool, but this is not. We're just telling the truth here. Pool cost the Golden State several games. I would say probably 8 to 10 games throughout that season that put them in the 6th seed.
Yeah.
With turnovers, that 3-pointer in the playoffs wasn't the first shot. If you've been watching him, that he just took.
But I want people to believe that he earned the right to take that shot.
You think he did?
He was 5 for like 6 before that shot. He helped them throughout the year. He helped them last year. I think he earned the right to be able to, the ball was in his hands with no other option, take that shot. I think he gets one.
But you know, the only way I would argue that is, to me, if you earned the right to take the shot, right?
Mm-hmm.
I give you that. What happened to him after he took that shot?
Oh, he pouted.
He pouted, and his performance went straight down. That was actually the best game he had in that series.
Yeah, but that goes to personality.
I agree. Totally agree.
You know, Kuzma, D'Angelo Russell, Jordan Poole, they all the same player to me from a personality-wise. You know, they have the game. They can play. You see the flashes of greatness. You see the abilities there. But when the moment's brightest, the ego is as well.
And I want to let everybody know, well, when we have Big Jon on, this is Big Jon comes with it, people. You know, this is analysis right now. I always love your comments because you bring thought and a background to it that a lot of people you can't share that with them. You know, I love that.
It runs in my blood, like grandma, aunties. We're reading the back of the newspaper box scores, reading the articles, you know, other paper, and then we're talking about it. You know, watching the game. Have you ever been to the old Chicago Stadium?
I went there as a kid. Remember they used to have Ice Capades, Disney stuff?
Yes.
I went there for that. Never saw a Bulls game there.
I saw a Bulls game there. Actually won a raffle in my 8th grade for like $3,000. And my teacher had to accept the prize for me because, of course, I was underage. And then went back the next year when the new stadium was made and saw to play at the new stadium. So
you saw Mike in person?
I saw Mike in person twice. I mean, I've seen Eddie Curry, Jake Williams in person, Tyson Chandler. The tickets were $10. I was in the building.
Mm-hmm. That's what I'm talking about. Let me get some comments here. Basketball is hype driven, and unfortunately, if you don't do it the first few years, you are forgotten quickly. But I'm telling you, Reverend, I believe there's going to be a shift in that. There's going to be a shift. You got guys coming out now, like this draft that just happened. We don't know who any of these people. Let's just tell the truth. We don't really have it. How much basketball have we seen these players play?
Have you ever overtime elite game?
No, I just said the other day. I pulled up some highlights and watched the Twins play for the first time. Have you watched OTE?
No, I have not seen a game.
I have not. And then when I'm looking at the competition they're playing against, and we know that back in the day, now you're a first-round draft pick. Do you know Bilal, who played in France for Wemby? You know how many points he averaged a game? 5. I looked him up last night. He averaged 5 points a game. He's 6'8", 6'9", 185 pounds. He's young. I think he's only 19 years old. But he averaged 5 points a game. This guy was a top draft pick. There are guys in the draft that's averaging 12 points a game that are top draft picks.
And didn't play in college.
No, it wasn't like that. It wasn't like that when Shaq, Alonzo Mourning, Christian Laettner, all them guys came out. Wasn't like that.
I mean, I think the draft you're seeing the AAU circuit take over. You're seeing it in NBA with the clicks now.
Yeah.
Now you're going to see it in the draft where, you know, who had the money behind them, who had the hype behind them, who were in that right situation. Because, and what I was watching the podcast earlier, what do you need to go to college for if you're going to be projected to be a top 10 pick? Why do you need to go to college? Go play overseas. Go to OTE. Go to.
Well, LaMelo Ball said only people that's going to be doctors, lawyers, and other top business people need to go to college. He said, I don't need to go to college. I need to go somewhere and play basketball.
Mm-hmm.
And it may sound a certain way. You may listen to that and say, what is he talking about? He's actually telling the truth. He's saying something that most people will not say.
College doesn't play a pro style game. College coaches are not there to get you ready for the pros.
No.
College
coaches are there to make sure they don't get fired.
Yeah. Kentucky, Duke, they win championships. That's what they're there for, so they don't get fired. And by proxy, you go to the pros. You're the number one pick. But, Anthony Davis was number one pick, and he didn't score 15 points a game.
No.
They didn't win. College is not made for individuality. It's made to fit in team, which on a team like the Warriors, team like the Lakers, you need those pieces. You don't need the individuals like the Jordan Pooles. You need the Moses Moody's, who are going to be a piece in the cloth.
Speak on that. People forget that. People think you got to have these top draft picks to win championships. You got to have the Moses Moody's, the Cliff Livingstons back in the day. Mm-hmm. You got to have those kind of players who got that dog in them, who would do anything to get the rock. And only a few teams have those kind of players today.
What do you think about Marcus Smart going to Memphis?
I'm just trying to understand, does he really fit Memphis? Because Ja's out, so I thought Jones was going to take over that. Jones was playing well. Ja's been out the last 2 years. Yeah. Jones was playing well. So I thought, okay, they got this guy. He's been around for a while. Came out of Duke. He's going to be a nice backup, now starting player when Ja's out. Marcus Smart still is not a point guard, and he's not a two guard. So
Marcus Smart fits the old Memphis. The
Rudolph, yes.
Grizzlies.
Yes.
The Grizzlies team is immature.
Yes.
I'm surprised the coach still has a job.
I'm surprised. I don't know what Marcus Smart is going to do there. And then people say, well, they got the last 2 defensive players of the year. I don't know what that means.
If he can be the adult in the room, it may be a good thing for him. Because I remember earlier this season when he criticized Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown and Dia. He got crucified on radio in Connecticut and in Boston. They're like, why are you talking? You're not the starting team. Why are you criticizing them? You could have did it this way. You could have this way. But they played better after that. So if he can be the adult in the room and tell them how it is to their face and in the media, it may be what they need, because they don't listen to Steven Adams. They didn't want Andre Iguodala there. They don't have a vet that they want to listen to. But he's 29. He's been to the finals. He's been to East Conference Championship a few times. Maybe he's young enough but mature enough for them to listen to.
So, okay, I'm going to make this comparison. I've made it before. So you have Shea in Oklahoma City. Very young team, right? That team doesn't act anything like Memphis.
Nope.
But one could argue that Shea, on the court, his presence and how he conducts himself is nothing like Ja Morant. So why is Oklahoma able to be more mature and conduct themselves a certain way on the court, but Memphis does not do that?
Coaching.
I think it's coaching.
Culture.
For sure. And I think it's star player and how they conduct themselves. And people looking and saying, the man in this building is doing this, and I'm probably about to do something similar.
It's always 20% of the people causes 80% of the problems. And that's Memphis' problem right now.
It's true. So I believe that Marcus Smart is going to be over there and be frustrated. Just like other vets I've seen. Who's the vet that was in with Houston Rockets, got traded out? Used to play with the Clippers. What's that?
Was it John Wall?
No, I want to say it's not Gordon.
Was it Gordon? John Wall?
He plays the 2 guard. I believe he plays the 2.
Hey, Gordon.
Yes. Yes. So he was very frustrated in Houston.
Yeah. But John Wall said it. They don't know how to be professionals.
That's true.
When John Wall got traded, the first thing he said, they don't know how to be professionals.
So how do you get from the Olajuwon Houston Rockets to the Houston Rockets we have today?
That culture, that's Daryl Morey's fault. He allowed James Harden to do whatever, whenever. And now anybody coming behind him, I'm going to do whatever, whenever. You allow him to have.
Absolutely right.
You can go to the strip club before the game and then right after the game go back to the strip club. How serious are you about basketball? How serious are you about winning?
And everybody on the roster knows that.
I think John Wall said when he got traded there, he was excited. I'm gonna play with James Harden. James Harden was first day there John Wall was going to his interview. Harden's like, hey, you want to come to this party in New York with me? I'm about to get in the plane right now.
And this is why also James Harden, before a playoff run, is in Vegas hanging out.
And I think Doc compared it to when Rodman went off on his week in Vegas. He ain't Rodman, man.
Well, I always consider Doc Rivers an enabler of things. He's not the coach that's going to right the ship or say, you know what, we don't do that here. James Harden, you might have done that someplace else. We don't roll like that here. So when I heard this story, when Paul Pierce gave a speech during his Hall of Fame induction, and he said that Doc Rivers was a player's coach because Paul Pierce came to practice drunk several times, and Doc was like, "Hey, just go home and take a nap." I think that's how Doc's rolling.
And good coaches would have ran you all night.
That's right.
You just gonna run.
Just gonna run the alcohol out of you today.
Good teammates are gonna run you and run you all night. You gonna hold you accountable. Hard practice. People wonder why Jimmy Butler's my favorite player because you know what you get with him every game, every time. He's not the most talented, but he's going to play with the most effort.
Well, when he played with Minnesota and Cat, and he said, none of these guys up here have heart, is when I really started liking Jimmy Butler. And it hasn't changed.
I'm sad he didn't get it done. I would love to see it for him. But to get there, if you're judging Jimmy Butler this year out from the end result, you're missing the beauty of the season he had, of the postseason he had.
Totally agree.
He knocked out number 1 seeds, number 2 seed. He came in a play-in game and made it to the finals. And he ran into a better team. He ran into a better player and a better team. Yep. Same thing in the bubble. He ran into a better player and a better team.
Let me ask you about Bam. By now, do you expect that Bam will have a better mid-range, better overall game than what he has?
I would expect it. I would expect it with the shooters that you have around you and with the coaching staff that they have, one of the elite coaching staff in Miami, to have a mid-game. But you remember the center they had before Bam that they gave all the money to, Hassan Whiteside?
Yes.
That's the type of player they want at center, I believe. That a rim runner, good defender, shot blocker, not necessarily somebody who's going to dream shake you in the post or post and pop.
I totally agree. It's interesting how Whiteside, that you bring him up, went from a pretty decent player with at the end of the career of Dwayne Wade to not in the league.
Yeah. He got the money, got that bag, got that ego. And he was one player that they couldn't get to practice.
It's interesting. It's interesting the inner workings of how this thing works sometimes when people get that bag.
Hey, money can change you.
Because I thought, man, Whiteside was about to start ripping some stuff up. Before I knew it, it was like, wait, man, hey, where's Whiteside at? I'm watching Miami games. Like, I don't even see this guy.
He went to Portland. I think he's maybe 2 seasons in Portland, and then that was it.
Well, when he was in Portland, it looked like he could not stay in shape. He just couldn't stay in shape. He looked bigger, slower. Just couldn't. It's not happening.
Can't develop big men either.
No, they can't. I don't know the last one I've seen. The Reverend says that the new age of players too worried about their social media presence instead of being professional.
Reverend, I agree.
Tim Duncan was the last fundamentally sound because of staying in school. I was on the way here to this podcast, and I was talking to a friend on the phone that I've known for years, and I was talking to him about, now you have people that go to school for a year. We allude to this earlier in this conversation, and then they're gone. Coach didn't really teach them anything in those 20 to 30 games that they play. You don't really see.
You said a year. They go for 6 months.
Well, it just really is, because they get there and then they're out before that first semester even ends.
Yeah, you don't make the tournament. You out before Christmas.
You're out.
I remember
here at UCLA when Lonzo Ball left UCLA,
mm-hmm.
and it was early in the game. It was really early. Season that started, and he was pretty much gone way before the tournament. Wasn't even showing up to class anymore.
What do you think about Lonzo Ball not coming back this year?
I don't think Lonzo Ball is ever playing basketball again. I think it's over with. I think Lonzo Ball is the new the player that was with Portland.
I know who you're talking about too.
Patrick Roy.
Patrick Roy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a new one. I think when they went in, they started releasing this information that they were doing knee surgery to repair his knee to be a part of society and not an athlete. I still believe, I've said this over and over again, and people don't believe me. I was saying this when he first got drafted. To me, the LaMelo Ball is frame. I think it's just the way these guys are made, man. The LaMelo Ball is frame. When your thigh is the same circumference as your calf, Big Jon, you're not really made for that. When you break your ankle trying to cross someone over, I just don't know if that's going to last 12 years of jumping and bounding, 8, 10. I don't know. I think his brother has shown that his body wasn't just made for that.
No. You know, the middle brother body had an NBA body, not an NBA game.
Mm-hmm. He was built like his father. Yeah.
LaMelo has an NBA game, not an NBA mindset.
No. LaMelo's on social media. We talking about social media. He's on social media in the beverage area of like a 7-Eleven, taking pictures with his new fronts and like his new teeth in. I would really like to know, what does LaMelo Ball do in the off season to get ready for the next season? And I'm not really a person that's big on seeing a lot of video of players working out, but I would just like to know, what does he do?
Why does everything have to be on video? These gym runs that they do, and it's all highlights. There's no real basketball being played.
Nope.
You know,
shooting on air.
You knew Kobe was in the gym because other players told you they saw Kobe in the gym.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't see footage of Kobe in the gym.
And you also saw Kobe's game change year after year. You saw improvement. You saw different things going on. You knew he was putting in work.
Mm-hmm.
And Kobe wasn't going to be posting videos of him putting in work. Because either two things happen. You got a lot of videos of people running stairs and doing other stuff, or you got guys like AD saying, "Hey, I ain't touched the basketball all summer." One or the other.
I get taking a break. I get, taking some time off to, rest. It's a long NBA season, 9 months. I get, but like going the whole summer and not playing basketball as a kid, you would never go a whole summer without picking up a basketball.
Never.
I would like to know, like, you can just see the point where the love of the game leads.
The Reverend says MJ, Kobe, Curry, LBJ all put in the work. I don't think any one of those people you're questioning about. Do I need to see a video? Do I need to see a video of Larry Bird? Clay in that group also. Yeah, Clay's going to put in some WRK. Klay Thompson?
You know what? You can put Jamal Murray in that group too.
You can put Jamal Murray in that group, for sure. No question about the work that he's putting in. You can see the evolution of his game.
Mm-hmm.
You can see when he got to the playoffs what he's doing. I don't question Jamal Murray in that regard. I do not do it. Yeah, Brandon Roy. Brandon Roy was the guy climbing that mountain, about to become something, chronic knee injury.
Jay Williams was like that too.
Well, Jay Williams decided to go get on the bike.
Mm-hmm. Motorcycle accident ruined his career.
If he wouldn't have done that, man, the Bulls would have. It'll be different.
I remember my best friend's a Duke fan. I'm a Illini fan, and we used to, who's gonna be better, Jay Williams or Darren Williams coming into the league. Those debates, and those arguments. And just imagine that Darren Williams would last longer than Jay Williams. Can't predict those things.
No, when I saw the injury on the news that day, I was like, this guy's career is probably over. It's almost like Bobby Hurley. Bobby Hurley hurt himself doing something, right?
Mm-hmm. And you can tell, if you listen to him on ESPN, you can tell he regrets it. Like, he's still not over that hurt or not.
You're never going to get over that. No, you took your own self out. You're never going to get over that.
You can tell that there's a want to and knowing the body isn't willing.
Bobby Hurley was going to be pretty good. Yeah, he was. Yeah, Patrick Roy's a hockey yellow. Yay, Bo! It's true. Car wreck, FD, we thinking the same. Yep. Hurley took himself out or got taken out. We know things happen. I mean, things happen in our lives. But we athletes is just like your physicalness, your body, I guess the tempo of your livelihood is, a lot of us go to work, we use our minds, body, song. But what's up, Yebo? Good to see you. Can't wait to see you in person, man. Good to see you. So what do you think? What do you think of Wemby, Big Jon?
What can Wemby do that Bol couldn't?
No.
I don't get it. He's skinny, he's light frame. I understand he's 7'2". I understand he can catch his own 3-pointer and dunk it over, people in France. But what are you gonna do when you get knocked out there and he gets injured? Like, same thing with Chet. Like, I just don't think your body's ready for the NBA grind.
We'll add a few of the fires when Wemby comes out for his first shoot around and you can't hit a shot. People start running with, uh-oh.
I mean, I wish the best for him. I definitely wish the best for him. But, if he gets 10 years in the league, I think that's a blessing for him.
You know who I think is going to be the real player in this draft?
Scoot. I like Scoot.
Scoot's about to be. I said something the other day about I can't wait to see Scoot play Anthony Edwards.
Yeah.
That's going to be a battle, man. Scoot physically is ready. I'm seeing more of a jump shot from him. But, we all got to see what he's going to do when the lights come on and the competition is there. But it's just something about Scoot. And he seems to be already embracing the Portland community.
We'll see what Portland does. They supposed to have a meeting with Dame tomorrow.
Yeah. I think Dame's going to go in there and say, I can't play with this guy. Trade me.
Trade him to Miami. Please trade him to Miami.
Okay, that's a good one. So if he's there with Butler and Bam, are they finals bound again?
Yeah. Miami doesn't have a player that can make an easy basket. Even if you watch Jimmy Butler, right side mid post, turnaround jump shot. He doesn't make easy baskets, but their passing and their trusting each other is so good that their back cuts were really good in the finals in getting some baskets at the rim. You get a guy like Dame who can create for himself and others with ease, with that willpower of that Miami culture. I think you're back in the East Conference Finals at worst. I don't think you get in the second round exit because you got too many dogs in this fight, and you got one that is a bona fide superstar. And you're in the East. That's at least 25% easier than getting through it in the West.
Oh, I agree. So now you know the knock against Dame, because everybody has a knock, right? The knock against Dame is that, man, you don't play a lot of games, man. Dame played 80 games in 2018, 2019.
Mm-hmm.
Since then, he's played 66, 67, 29, 58.
You give him 70. You give him 70 regular season games. You give Jimmy Butler 70 regular season games. They're a 6 seed at worst, and they're going to turn out and make it to the finals. It's ring culture in the NBA. Regular season don't mean that much if you're going to be there in the playoffs and can win those 14 games.
I don't disagree. I also think sometimes when you get to a certain part of your career, and some wear and tear in your body, if you can go somewhere with more talent, because we look at numbers, there are pros and cons to every number that I could spit out, Big Jon could spit out, or anybody else. I just say stuff to make sure we're bringing every bit of information into the conversation. But I would say that if he's in a place like Miami, Dame probably plays more games, probably less minutes per game, healthy and longer throughout the season than playing in Portland.
I agree. They're going to win more games, and he won't have to finish the last 5 to 8 minutes of every game.
That's right. And it's got to come through him to get that win.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to be.
Don't have to go through him. In fourth quarter, Jimmy's all about giving it to me.
That's right.
I'll get us there. I'll get us there. You get us close, give it to me in the fourth, and I will will us there.
The Reverend says Wemby is going to be in for a rude awakening. I just hope, we're talking about our young people. We're talking about our young men in this situation. We're talking about young ladies in other sports. I just hope that Wemby knows that if he comes out and he's not playing well, or if he's hurt early and he's out for several games, what people are going to start saying?
But is there any other organization that would take care of him the way the Spurs would take care of him?
I don't think so. He's in the right place for that.
Then, to succeed, he's in the right place. Their Hall of Famers are still part of that culture and still part of that team. You got Tim Duncan on the bench, Manu's around, David Robinson's around in the building. He has the greatness and the mentors around him to be great that you don't see that in Chicago. You don't see the Chicago greats coming through and then being there.
The Ronzo still the owner? Nope.
Yeah.
Ain't happening.
I have nothing bad to say about Ransdorf because I worked for him and when working at the White Sox, I've met him a good time, and I don't have nothing bad to say about the man. He's always been great, nice to me, and my friends and family. He helped one of my best friends get into law school, so I can't really say much bad about him. But as an owner, you can sell both those teams, and I'll be all right with it. Mm-hmm. Go make a couple $1 billion and relax.
Because you know he's about that profit.
Yeah.
He's going to make that. He's about that profit now. He turned those franchises from a very low total volume asset to something else at this point. So he knows about that.
I don't know how old he is, but if I'm about to be 38, he's got to be mid-80s.
Got to be.
So I don't even know if having the money for selling the team is appealing to him. Leave it for the kids. Leave it for the grandkids to run and let them decide when to sell it. You've already enjoyed all the money you're going to need and make from those teams.
Jerry Reinsdorf is 87 years old. 87.
If he was 67, you sell it, you got 20, 30 billion for the next 20 years to be off the grid with.
Oh, wow. There's a Yahoo story here about him possibly starting his own network. Reinsdorf's still on the move, man.
He's making moves.
Making moves. None of us should stop making moves. Keep making moves, people. The Reverend says Scoot has some sisters that are going to keep him grounded. It seems like they're a tight knit family for them to be at the draft and almost over the interview post draft of him. Portland about to be the triple S's, Simons, Scoot, Sharp. That's probably what may come out of that meeting. Yo, FD, what's going on? Pop gonna be in his ear. He better be ready. Pop will be in his ear. Pop was all over Tim and everybody else involved. So Wemby better get ready. In the '90s NBA, Wemby would have lasted, but the game is just an air show now. It's different. I mean, one could say that about Kevin Durant. If he had somebody taking him to the ground or slinging him into the second row, I don't know. And we all know now. Let's remember there was some knocks against Kevin Durant. He's not a 3. He's not a 4. He's too light. But Kevin Durant came out and started hitting that jumper. So if Wemby has a fire jumper, as we say, I don't know if it matters. But if his game is trying to do something else, probably will matter.
What do you think about Kevin Durant going into the Twitter room that was talking about KD not being top 5? What are your thoughts about that?
Oh, that's KD all the way. That's how he rolls. He says he likes to combat his naysayers. That's just how he gets down. KD is not top 5. Big Jon, is KD in your top 5?
All time, no.
Yeah, KD's not. I don't know what. Hopefully, KD is not sitting somewhere thinking that he is top 5. It's not.
No, all time, no.
KD is a 7-footer with a blazing jump shot. Okay on defense. That's who KD is. But his shooting percentage from the field is bananas.
No, he's a scorer.
Yeah.
He's a great player. He's top 5 in the NBA now, sure.
Yeah, I can say that.
All time, no.
And not going to get there. KD, if you're listening, and you on your burner phone, and you on a different handle, we got love for you, but you're not top 5.
So, all right, let's want to talk about some cons. We got National on the way. You decided to get back to Chicago?
Oh yeah, I'm going to the National. I plan to be. Are you going to be there?
No, I don't know when I'm going back home. It'll probably be a couple years.
I understand. Yeah.
Little emotional.
Yeah, I hear you.
I wanted to. Think of things wouldn't happen when it happened. I would be trying to move mountains to get there this year. I've enjoyed going to the cons I've been to. One of the things I did this year, listening to your show, I made a hobby goal list. And it wasn't about buying cards. It was more like participation. Then I wanted to make sure I got to a local show. I want to try to get to more card shops, even though they're like an hour away. And then I wanted to make sure I went to all the EC3s, which is the show that's closest to me. So I've knocked those out my list. This week I'm off. I'm gonna try to visit a couple shops this week and just walk around and see what I can see and participate.
That's what it's all about. But you've been to the National before, right?
I've never been to the National.
Oh, you'll get there, Big Jon.
It's not one of those things that I have to do immediately in my hobby journey, right? I think everybody's hobby journey is their own.
It is.
You feel like that. Just because everybody's talking about National doesn't mean you have to be there.
Big Jon, can you say that again for the people in the back?
Everybody's hobby journey is their own.
Absolutely. We hear these things sometimes that you got to get here, you got to go there, it's really your own journey. The National is a great show to go to. But I always tell people, like Big Jon's talking about in his community, where he's going, you're at a segment of the National where you're going to be at. You could look around and see very similar stuff at this table, at these 3 tables, at these 15 tables, at these 25 tables. And the National now has grown until you have pockets and segments of things. You got a lot of vintage in some areas. You have breaks going on in some areas. You got more modern going on in areas. You have all memorabilia kind of sitting in an area. It's a large enough show where you can go to and find kind of what you're looking for. If you're looking for something, no matter how scarce it may be, it's probably represented at the National or somebody there you'll make a contact with. can introduce you to someone, or they have it someplace else because everybody doesn't bring all their cars. But participation in your community and in different places that you visit,
it's probably more.
It's crucial. It's crucial. So.
Because these local shows and regional shows, they don't exist if we don't go.
That's right. Absolutely.
Then we're just waiting for the national.
That's right. But I do plan to be at the national. We haven't been in 2 years. We didn't go to Atlantic City. When I left in Chicago 2 years ago, I said I'm not going to Atlantic City. I think the national has said that it won't be in Atlantic City again. I think it's Cleveland. What's that, sir? It's in Cleveland next year. Cleveland, Chicago this year, Cleveland next year, Chicago again after that. Yep. Now, I don't know if they've announced more sites other than those three. We'll be there on that Friday and that Saturday, walking around. If you ask me, FD, what do you want to buy? I have no idea. May not purchase anything. May do just like what Big Jon's talking about. May walk the show and try to network with people, get to know folks, do a bunch of interviews, and talk about what I may want to buy between September and December, or September and March. So those are plays that can be made at the national as well. There are a lot of people selling a lot of things, and some of these cars aren't going to move. And if they do, that same person may come back with a car, or it may be just. I talk about a lot too. Don't pass up the gems you're walking by, because the gems on the table. So stop, get to know somebody, ask them a question that you didn't know about them, and find out. Share something about yourself. Get somebody's contact information. What's your Instagram? What's your Facebook? Are you on YouTube? Whatever it may be. Are you on TikTok? Are you on Twitch? I could go on and on. Get to know people. That's really what. So I want to take my sons. G went with me before. This will be the first time Junior's there. I really want Junior to meet a bunch of folks.
Okay.
Yeah. And Big Jon, I'm gonna tell you about my buying strategy. Right. I've narrowed my scope on certain players. And certain players probably only. So a lot of the prospecting I used to do with certain players, or let me see what this card does. I might try to move this card later and enhance my PC. I do less of that now. And I buy, like, my focus in the next 6 months is going to be Stephen Curry. Wardale Stephen Curry.
Okay.
And it's probably pretty much what I'm going to say for a little while. I have an Ohtani card that I got his rookie year. It's a now card with his autograph on it. And I forgot what it's numbered out of. And I have it in storage, and I plan to take that out. And I'm just thinking out loud on some goals I have at the end of the year. We talk about goals. I want to go through some cards that I have to see what stuff I want to submit to grading. There are some cards I'm going to get back soon that I want to send to grading at the end of this year. Those are the kind of things I'm kind of participating in. And I think I'm trying to mature my overall PC for me personally. What do I want in that PC, and what do I plan to add to it? Is kind of what my focus is. It's not about. This is something that I just personally don't do. I know what other people do, and I'm not talking about other people or anything. Putting anybody else down. You have your strategy. You have your strategy. This is mine. We started rolling with FD to show what I do to add cards to my PC and what I'm interested in. I fight to stick to that strategy, right? I don't let the potential subscriber count or the views on the show kind of run what I'm doing when I'm trying to add something to the PC. Because I believe this, right? If you're not buying, let's just go through some things real quick. If you're not buying Trevor Lawrence, if you're not prospecting on Ritter, if you're not talking about what is Pickett doing, if you're not prospecting maybe on some baseball, if you're not buying LaMelo Ball, Zion, or Ja, people are wondering, what are you talking about?
Mm-hmm.
So even if I put out a show right now and it didn't center on any of those players, I know I would receive in the comments, what are you doing? What are you buying? Why are you buying that? But I believe personally that the very successful cards 5, 6 years from now, 10 years from now, may not have anything to do with any of the players I just named. And probably has something to do with some of these draft picks that just happened. Who's the apple of that bunch? Who is the guy who's been on the team who is trying to work his way through that system he's in? We talked about systems and teams and get more playing time. Who's the Cam Thomas of another team? Comes in, another guy gets traded, somebody else gets traded, he starts playing. Let's say Cam Thomas will start focusing on his defensive side. Where is that player going to be? I think it's more of that, because I always say that if it was so simple as top draft pick, I score 20 points a game, I go to the Hall of Fame with 5 championships, everybody would figure it out.
Yeah.
But it's not that simple. So that's why I want to spend more of my time.
I'm spending my time continue doing what I'm doing, right? I'm going to get my Cubs, I'm going to get my Lou Bobs, I'm going to get my Kobe Whites and my Ayo DeSumus and see what goes. Like, I love it. I'm in Connecticut, but I collect Chicago teams. So when I go to shows, you know, I can always tell who's high on a table if they have any of those teams cards. I don't want to buy anything if you're already high. I can. You got this AO that's a $5 PSA 10 for $35. You're in for it too much. You bought it the wrong time.
That's right.
I know I'm not gonna get it. I'm not gonna waste my time trying to negotiate when I know you got a bad deal that you want to get out of.
That's right. They said Big Jon help me, so I can help me. Yeah.
Okay. I may not know how much a Trevor Lawrence is worth. I might not know how much LaMelo balls are worth, but you put a Ayo DeSumo autograph in front of me, numbered out of 100, and you try to charge me more than $20, we end the conversation.
Yeah, and that's another thing that people should know. Don't be afraid to walk away. Tell people where you're at, stick to that, and walk away in a certain situation. I have found now, just me, and I'm not bad mouthing any shows. You can go to shows, you find great deals. I also sometimes sit at home on eBay and I find a great deal.
Mm-hmm.
I can send messages to people, and there are people willing to negotiate with me through a message or drop a price or get into a situation where it's beneficial for myself and the person that's selling the card. I save people on eBay. I come back to them. There are just so many ways to go about purchasing. I like to go to shows to stay abreast of what's happening in the community, talk to my people that are out there, and understand what are some new trends that are happening on tables. You walk into a show, you start looking at like 5 or 6 tables, you know what people are buying.
Yeah.
You know what people are asking for. Because the sales is going to bring out what somebody asked for the last 2 shows. Make sure they have it.
You know what I love doing at shows now? People watching.
Mm-hmm.
Literally watching the deals go down, watching how people negotiate, watching how the dealers interact when somebody asks how much is this, or you got any room on that, or when the kids come ask, hey, are you buying, are you trading? I can see it from both perspectives, from the customer and the dealer. And you learn a lot about people, and you learn who's looking to give some good deals. You learn who they are off the camera, and who's a different person on the camera as well.
I agree.
Who's taking the time to talk to you, get to know you, ask you, who you into, what you're collecting, what you're buying, what you're looking for.
Yep.
And I've made some really nice dealer friends that I can hit up on Instagram.
That's what it's all about.
Hey, what's going on? How can I be a part of this? What you're looking for? I'll bring it to the show. This is what I'm bringing. Are you interested before I go in? It's weird to me because I never started my Instagram page for any notoriety. It was my wife's idea. It's like, hey, you got your own page for yourself. Get a page for your cards. And that's pretty much been my main page to show my cards and my family, just kind of me in general.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, I don't look at the likes, I don't look at the mentions, good or bad. Good I reply to, bad I just erase it and keep on going.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm going to collect what I'm going to collect. I'm going to buy what I can afford and what I like. and I'm going to sell also. Like I participate in a good amount of breaks, but my breaks are Chicago teams. There's things I'm looking at. If I get a good card, if I get a base card, I'm still probably keeping it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not out here spending money on trying to get a Trevor Lawrence auto for a break and gambling. I know if I get into an NFL break and I get some Fields, second year, third year, I'm gonna be happy with that Fields card.
That's right.
I'm gonna be happy with the Gordons, the defensive backs, the linemen of the Bears that I get to go into my collection, go into my box of just here's all my Bears cards. Put you next to Brian Urlacher, put you next to this base Khalil Mack, because I like those Bears, I like that team. So I don't gamble as much as other people may do when it comes to breaking or buying retail boxes. Like that doesn't interest me anymore. Now that I've gotten smarter in hobby, I've made those mistakes. I learned those lessons the hard way. I'm gonna do what I want and be happy with it.
I love talking to you, Big Jon, because I love that mindset. I love a mindset of I'm gonna buy what I like. I'm gonna learn through the process, and I'm happy with what I have.
Yeah. I mean, we all hop in our own way. We all drive our own lanes, and it's great when they meet up together and we can talk about, hey, I bought this, I didn't bought that, and show each other appreciation for when we hobby.
Yeah.
And it's okay when we disagree. It's okay that
Not one way. It's not. That's what I tell people all the time. Some people hit me up and say, "Man, why you buy James Wiseman?" It's not one way out here. And I'm not asking anybody else. Why you? I do not ask that question. I don't think I've ever asked anybody that question. Why are you buying XYZ? I'm not asking that question.
At least not ask that question in the negative connotation.
No.
Trig, why do you buy this?
I'm not the police. I'm a member of a fraternity, and I always tell other brothers in the fraternity, I don't police the fraternity. I don't dictate who's a member, who's not, and what is this and what is that. It's the same way with the hobby. Same way with anything. I don't control entry and exit of the hobby and what people want to collect. The beautiful thing about the hobby, and sometimes people misconstrue this, is that there's so much out here for people to collect and have an interest in. I know some people that collect, they don't collect any NBA. They collect only WNBA. And then people say, why do you collect WNBA? I'm like, I don't. What is that?
The WNBA is a good game. It's a good game. I've met a lot of the Connecticut Sun players throughout the years when they come through. I used to work right next to UConn. I've met the women's team and they come through to buy stuff for school and things. Like they just play basketball.
Yeah.
None of the hype, none of the other stuff.
And it's actually more fundamentally sound than what the NBA is producing.
And if you go to a game, it's more family friendly. You can take take your kids there and not worry about what bill you didn't pay this month.
Junior and I are going to go to I think his first WNBA game in July. He's been to a Clippers game. They played the Minnesota Timberwolves. We went a couple of weeks ago to a hockey game here in LA. Try to get him out. But what I will say as a parent, Big Jon, I know you know this, when you take your children out, the whole time I'm going, I'm thinking, what are we going to interact with right now? What are we about to see? And then I'm fully prepared of talking to him about what we do see and making sure that his filter can take that in a certain way. And in those instances, we haven't seen anything that we need to have another conversation about. But I've been with G before where we've had to have a conversation about some stuff. It's important. Like you said, you go to a WNBA game, there are families in there. There are children running around, mothers and dads in there, couples in there. There are people there to have fun, man. A band is playing, music is playing. It's a little bit different vibe than when you go to an NBA game. And it's almost, I would say, probably more of what traditionally we think of as a collegiate experience.
Yeah.
But it's very nice to be around. I went to Minnesota Minx games back in 2003. Sat like right behind the bench. I like sports, man.
Yeah. So, as a parent, as father, what made you want to put your kids in front of the camera?
Oh, it was hard for me, Big Jon. This is a good question.
It's hard for me, man.
It was hard for me, bro. I had to talk here. April and I had several conversations. It was very difficult for me. Like G wasn't in front of the camera for a long time, and Junior definitely wasn't in front of the camera. It was difficult for me. It was hard for me to open up to that level. I'm always concerned about having them on social media and things like that. And what I did was sit down and think about me personally. What do we do when we're not filming? And I started this to show who I was in the hobby. And then we're going to start doing some more stuff about just what we do, just like daily life stuff sometimes, what we do. And we'll put that out in different formats, social media, probably some shorts on YouTube, things like that. And so I started thinking about that, and I was like, well, why wouldn't I have? And then what really took me to the point where I should have Junior videos. I should start having G, if he wants to do that, be in front of the camera, is I want to share this with them. I never want this to be something where Dad goes to do that, and then I don't spend time with him. So I wanted it to be where we can go do something in the hobby and then go do something else that they may be interested in the same day, and let's have Junior with us and let have him participate. And then it'd be a good learning experience for him to be around people, shake hands, talk to folks, things like that. And that's what really set in with me that I think I can probably do this now. Because at first, April would ask me, "You gonna take Junior today?" Like, no, not doing that.
My daughter has no interest in sports cards or anything stuff I like. She just wants to spend time with Daddy.
That's what I'm saying.
She was a kid. She's always had her own make-believe land and YouTube channel in her head. So when we go live on Instagram, you already see her pop in and take over, get in the videos.
Oh, I see you. Yeah.
That's her personality when she's off camera. She's, Daddy, I'm streaming right now. And we're just playing, she's in our room playing, or I come in, we're playing something, and she's making up comments and usernames for other people. So I know it's something that she wants to do, but it's like, maybe I'm jaded because I'm an adult and I see the bad part of social media. She doesn't read the comments, she doesn't get that, but like, I can't control my reaction if you say something about my wife and my kids. It's not going to be pretty.
Yeah, no, I understand. But I'm just telling you, for me, it was the interaction with them, and then I talked to them about Junior and G about some of the negative things that may come. I may talk to them about a comment. We'll talk about that, because I always think, and my elders told me, is that a lot of times when you face something or you see something and you kind of discern what it is, later on in life you'll see that same thing.
Yeah.
Our elders used to tell us nothing new under the sun. You're going to see the same thing. You might see it in a different form. You might see it 15 years from now, but you're going to run across that same personality or whatever it may be. Same gesture or same comments. You're going to run across that either reading it or in front of your face or something that you heard somebody say. I just want them to give them a little filter of life, just a little bit at a time, so they can understand what is out there. Because it's not, when I first went to college, I started realizing everything's not my household. It's not what I grew up in. It's not what I'm used to. There's a lot of other stuff going on out here. And it's to try to prepare them just for that. G now is a freshman in college. He needs that a little bit more than Junior. But it's good for them because Junior has a longer road before he's going to get there. But it's good for both of them to be able to kind of experience that, go through it, and be around it.
Junior knows his basketball. I will give him that.
You know what? This is how I kicked out Big Jon. Kobe passes away. Right? I used to sit in the room here and watch a bunch of Kobe highlights, like over and over and over, just watching Kobe. Like, man, I remember this dude was 17, 18, 19. I remember when he won a slam dunk contest. I remember when Shaq fouled out against Indiana, he kind of took the game over and won the game. I remember these moments. And so Junior would come in here and sit down by me. First time he came in, he said, "Who is this?" I was like, "This is Kobe Bryant." "Who's Kobe Bryant?" It's like, well, there was a helicopter that went down. Several people passed away. Not saying Kobe Bryant is more important than any of those other people on the helicopter, but he was one of the people on the helicopter that a lot of people know. His daughter passed away. When I started talking to him about his daughter, Junior started focusing in and understanding who Kobe is, and he would watch with me. Then we started watching Steph highlights. Then we started watching Jordan highlights. Then we watched LeBron highlights. And I always want him to formulate his own opinion. So when you hear him say stuff in videos, that's Junior talking. Mm-hmm. I'm not really telling him what to say, or what to think. And most of the time, he's on point. He puts it together.
Yeah, no, he has a sound. What's the word I'm looking for? Reasoning behind his picks. Mm-hmm. Like, and I can see in the videos that he's thought about it, and he's like, "This is my decision." And I applaud you for parenting live and social media times with them, because I understand how hard it is to put them out there like that.
Very, very much so. It took me probably a good 8 months to become comfortable with that before you start seeing people on a regular basis. And I want them to show who they are as people. But then we talk through the other side of things if there's something that's worth a conversation. And I'm gonna tell you the truth, Big Jon. A lot of times you get certain comments that's not even worth a conversation. Mm-hmm. I probably I'm dedicated more to doing research on the game itself, whatever sport it is, and on the hobby itself, on card values or what trends I'm seeing, just right here in my house, than probably most people do. Most people probably look at sports just in passing. I've never really been a person that just looked at sports in passing. From the time I played to after I played to even now, I get into the nuances. People in the family will probably tell you that I'm 0 or 100 on something. Either I'm all about it or I don't have anything to do with it. I'm not a lukewarm person, not in the middle of the road on something. So that's kind of how I approach my analysis of the questions that I have. Stuff I put on social media is what I'm actually thinking about. And then I think people got to realize too, when you watch different channels, right? You watch ESPN, that's a whole team of people bringing you facts and information. There are people like Shannon used to talk about on Undisputed. That's a whole team bringing him his notes, what he can refer to, what he can talk about. I kind of put my own work in to find out what am I about to be talking about, to what degree do I know about it. I'm constantly reading something, constantly trying to stay abreast of what's going on. To me, it's fun. It's not work. But I would hope no one is sitting there thinking he's just swinging from the hip, because that's not how it works now.
When you can do your research and you're confident in what you buy and you get found right, it's exciting. It's euphoric. But then when it goes wrong, it just makes you want to dive back more into research.
That's right. So you know the film.
Yeah. Why did this card, this player seems right there. Why did this card PSA 10, but it didn't sell for what I wanted it to sell for? Why? Was it the right player? Was it the right card? Was it the right time? So many other questions you get to going back and research and answer and learn and try again.
That's right.
I don't think.
To me, the more you put that work in, you're gonna see the benefits of that than just throwing something against the wall.
The hobby is the hobby. The hobby is also a business. Even if at every level your PC, you're the CEO of your PC. So at certain times you got to sell to upgrade. Sometimes you got to just buy to keep.
It's true. It's true. And is that like going through cards and remembering something about your childhood or young adulthood, and you remember that time in that car? Anytime I look at a Vince Carter card, I think of certain things. When he was at USC, when he won a slam dunk contest, what I was doing in my life, And that's the time when Tracy McGrady wasn't even thought of. We talk about ramp up. When Vince Young won the slam dunk contest and Tracy McGrady held the ball, I remember watching that slam dunk contest and somebody was like, "So who's that holding the ball?" Nobody even know who he was.
His cousin. And the fact they didn't know they were cousins.
They didn't even know. So I'm watching an interview one day, and Tracy McGrady is talking about when he found out. He was sitting at a family reunion talking to some relatives. They were talking about Vince. He was like, "Vince who?" Then he got on the phone with Vince, like, "Man, you know we was cousins." They didn't even know.
And imagine them two knowing they were cousins in the social media age. How much higher could they both have been drafted?
It would have been crazy. There's a couple of players. Mike Tyson in social media. Barry Bonds in social media. Ken Griffey Jr. in social media.
I don't think anything changes with Bonds in social media because he just wouldn't participate.
You don't think so?
No, he didn't like media. I don't think he'd participate in social media.
He might be one of them players. You're right. He might be one of them players who had a PR team release stuff for him, but not really in that thing like that.
No. You know, he was Willie Mays' godson.
Yes.
You didn't know that if you didn't watch Giants games.
That's right.
And he didn't come out and talk about it, talk about his time with Willie Mays and spend time together. The announcers told you that. You know, Ken Griffey on social media would have been something special.
Very special.
Something even still the best swing in baseball.
He did an interview, and he said that he each right-handed. I think he made right-handed, but he bats left.
That's left. You see the interview when he talked about why he wears his hat backwards?
Yeah, because he was a kid. The hat didn't fit. He wanted to wear his dad's hat, so he wore it backwards so it wouldn't fall off. And when you talk to like real athletes, man, that's kind of how stuff begins and ends. It's not people like, man, you wear your hat backwards, it's so cool. You got that swag. You set a trend. Probably a very practical reason why this thing went down.
But that's one of the things where you don't see the love of the game leave Ken Griffey Jr. Even during the World Baseball Classic. Every MLB player, Mike Trout, Mookie Betts, all were 10-year-old kids watching their hero do BP when he went up to do BP, hit that home run. He hit that one, and was done. Like, hey, I did it for you, and I'm done. Like, but with a big smile on his face. That love for the game, the love for the game never leaves. You know,
never.
Magic Johnson, Michael Jordan together. That's time to go play. That love for the game, the true greats never leaves them.
It's true. Zerny says Junior be on point more than I was at his age in sports. Zerny, I appreciate you. That means a lot. Feed the gods. The only time I've ever asked, why do you collect blank or blank? I genuinely want to learn what that type of person you are. Nothing but a conversation. Feed the gods, that's you. That's your personality. That's the one thing one of few things that I really appreciate about you is that you have a general interest when you talk to people about them in general. It could be the hobby, it could be something else. I wish more people are like that. I wish when more people ask that question, they really just wanted to learn instead of pass judgment. I think that's what we're saying. Because I don't care if you like this card right here. I just pulled a card out. If you like this Moon Knight card.
Moon Knight.
If you're really passionate about that, then let's talk about it. I'm not going to be asking you, why are you buying Moon Knight? Because no one should buy Moon Knight. That's not my place to me. Will Clark and Ken Griffey Jr. have the smoothest bat swings in their era. Can't dispute that.
You can add Gary Sheffield to that too.
That's right. With that wiggle of the bat.
The wiggle in the back.
Ooh, boy, I used to love to see him come to play. Zerny says, Big Jon, do you buy a box sometimes for the throwback feel?
Of course. I mean, I go get a retail box every now and then when I want to rip something. Don't expect to get anything, but I need to have a fun little rip.
I got a question for you. Where'd you buy your first cards when you were a kid? Was it at retail? I bought my first cards at retail.
Corner store off of Cumberland Avenue in Green. corner store. You should walk to the corner store, 25 cents, get a pack of cards, go home and rip them.
Mm-hmm. That's what I did. I was at either 7-Eleven. Sometimes you may find something at the checkout stand at Toys R Us. It was always someplace that I was. Definitely 7-Eleven at my brother's high school. That's why I picked up Jerry Rice's rookie cards, Topps football, sitting on the counter. And sometimes I would try to ask them when are you getting deliveries, and then try to get a full box. And this is back in the day, they didn't want to sell you a full box because other people come in and ask for them. And they didn't want to tell them that this little kid just came in and got, or this 12-year-old. So my question is, how do we get cards more in the hands of people? We started at retail. Probably anybody between our age groups probably started at retail. How do we get cards in? Because I didn't see a hobby shop till I was grown.
Yeah.
So how do you get cards into people's hands to get people into the hobby if they may not visit certain retail places, or may not see cards, or may not even know that the retailer that they're visiting has cards?
I mean, that's a question for fanatics. But like, if you want to get cards in more people's hands, I believe that those people have to stop looking for investments in value, especially in retail. Right? You got to go, if you're going to go buy retail, which should be cheaper than a hobby box, then you got to go because I want to rip something, I want to collect something, I want to see what I get, and not have it that, hey, I'm going to pull this 1 and 1 out of this card. If it happens, great, but the more we settle our expectations for what we're going to get out of retail, the more people will buy and better. And it also got to be priced right for what you're going to get out of that. Nothing worse than buying a $50 mega box and you don't hit any color or anything numbered. Let alone an auto or RPA. You know, open up a $50 box of NFL Optic and I don't hit any numbered cards.
It hurts.
It's a little bad still in there in anybody, any adult, you know, any kid. You know, I don't hit my favorite player. I don't. All I got is nothing.
Mm-hmm.
That's not fun. That's fun.
No, it's not.
You know, these kids today are smarter with card values than we are. If you've ever seen them at shows, you know, they got expensive cards. You know, they're savvy with trade. They're savvy with going through value boxes and finding stuff. You know, at all ages, from teenager on to mid-20s, you know, they know way more from a value standpoint than I did at that age.
Definitely more than I did.
You know, I still have a lot of my cards at home, and I sold you some of them. They're beat up, but I still have them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But that's how we learn, Big Jon.
Mm-hmm.
I tell people sometimes your cards got to get beat up. Sometimes your corners got to get bent. Sometimes it got to be some creases, but that's how you learn. Yeah. So later, when you do step up into a more high value brand, or you're pulling 1-on-1s, or you're getting an RPA, you know how to take care of that card because you learned. That's how I learned with 85 Topps football and a bunch of other stuff, because I was learning. I was putting my hands on cards a lot. I was resorting my cards. This is before sleeves. I was putting them in organized boxes so they could sit a certain way to limit chipping and things like that. But that brand had a black border around it, hard to take care of. That's just what it is, but that's how we learn. Liz has been selling hobby boxes in stores for a while now. It's not just limited to team sets like before. True, I was in the Lids maybe 3 weeks ago trying to pick up a baseball cap and saw they had all retail there. I think we need more of that. I think we need 20 years from now to somebody say, yeah, I started at Lids. I walked in the Lids, and I walked in this retail. I walked in that retail, and it was in front of my face. And I think, like Big Jon said, this is a question for fanatics. I personally feel like fanatics is going to have an answer to that, because if you want to keep the hobby growing and you want Big Jon and FDs years from now, you got to have an avenue where people can put their hands on cards and experience something, open something, and maybe find some value there. I mean, let's say you had retail sets where there was some number of cards in there that were exclusive to the retail sets. Can't change the game, right? So there were some autos that were exclusive to the retail sets. Kind of changes the game. Let's say with some RPAs exclusive to the retail sets.
I think it's been great. You've had some nice one-on-ones hit from retail. I think you have the one-on-one Leo Messi from the DC Sports hit. You get the Wander Franco one-on-one that was hit in retail. Like that gives it that chase that it could happen.
Yeah.
But you gotta have less duds in retail as well.
I agree.
Like, I went to Family Dollar and they got gravity feed packs, 5 cards. But most when you buy those for a couple bucks, it's all base vets. I understand it was cheap, but it was still a waste of money.
Mm-hmm.
I could have bought a Holly box and got the same cards and got an auto from the Holly box.
I agree with you. It's about the search and the find, not just the search. Big Jon, you know I've appreciated having you here, sir. You're a person that I respect your mind, your analysis, how you think about sports, how you speak about it. And since day one in the comments, I'm like, man, this dude comes with it. Gotta have him on. We gotta have you on more often.
I would love to be back on. I will tell you one thing, right? One reason why I'm always here. I love the way you and JD collect. They're different. They're your own lanes, but it comes together. And there's a lot of podcasts out here. There's a lot of YouTube shows out here. But finding good ones are hard to find. That's why, you'll see me post your show on my Instagram and hope more people come watch it. Like, finding good quality things that you're going to like and I'm going to like that's very appealing, it's hard. So I'm always here because I know I'm going to have a good time. It's going to be a good listen. And I can listen to you with my Bluetooth and still play with my daughter. I can listen to you on speaker and still play with my daughter. I know it's not going to be foul language, crass language.
No, none of that.
We're
family oriented, brother. Yeah.
And you can tell my wife is, been in the room and I'm listening up and we're, sitting there talking about what you're saying and talking about the podcast together because it's something that she's like, oh, what are you saying? Okay, what do you, that you can catch. So if you're in here, like and share, pass the word around, get everybody rolling with FD because this is a great podcast to just even listen to and just get some knowledge, get some gems, and have fun.
Brother, I appreciate you, man.
Bro.
I appreciate that was a goal of ours to be not only show what we do as a family, but to be a part of other families, people that have children or not. And we're aware that sometimes some of this may bring less views, less people around. But I had a friend tell me at one point, I'll tell you, Big Jon, I was kind of thinking like, where do we fit in at? Where's rolling with FD at in all of this? Then I started thinking to myself, and then like something came to me because it was supposed to. I had a friend that I've known for years, we're in the same fraternity, and he was just telling me proactively. I didn't even bring this to him. And he said, FD, you try to bring a more sophisticated touch to what you're offering. And it's not, yeah. And that's why I hang my hat on. If you're here and you're listening, you know what I'm talking about. I try to bring it a certain way. And I always said that I want to represent, that's why I wanted you on. I want to represent my people. Like we've had Yabo on, we've had people on here that are in the comments on this show. We've had the Rev here. And there are going to be more people that we're going to bring in because I'm a firm believer. I've been around in the hobby and talked to enough people that there's a lot of people out here with no YouTube channel, no podcast that are very knowledgeable, and somebody needs to hear them and hear what they're talking about. You fall right into that category as someone that's very knowledgeable, puts in the research, knows about sports, can apply it to the hobby, and go from there. So I appreciate you, man.
Appreciate you, my friend.
Tell your family I said what's up, your daughter, your son, everybody that FT said what's up. Our family says hello. We'll have you back. But before we get out of here, we got to add you to the intro.
What you got at?
So, Big Jon, who are you rolling with?
I'm rolling with FD, Chi-Town's best.
Bro, I appreciate you, man.
Appreciate you.
Time.
Thank you, man.
All right, brother.